going deep, and I mean deep, into the Himalayas to unpack the mystery of Roop Kund Lake. It's a place that's absolutely haunted by a chilling story, and you guessed it, a cursed souvenir.
So imagine you've been trekking for 6 full, exhausting days through torrential Himalayan rain. You finally get to where you're going, only to be met with a message like this. It's pretty direct, right? A very clear warning.
Yeah, but this wasn't, a signpost that someone carved into a tree. No, this warning came from a decayed human hand, perfectly preserved by that frigid mountain air, just reaching out from the past. A seriously unsettling welcome to a place the locals call the Lake of Deads.
All right, so let's get into it. We'll start with the incredible, and frankly terrifying, journey to this haunted Himalayan lake.
The trek itself was just an absolute ordeal. Picture it. 6 days of rain that just will not stop, the ever-present threat of the wild. I mean, they even had a close call with a tiger. But despite all that, their determination to get to Roop Kund Lake was just stronger. It pushed them forward past every single obstacle.
Now, what they found when they finally arrived was this haunting paradox. A place of absolutely stunning beauty that was hiding a horrifying secret in plain sight.
And at first glance, I mean, it is paradise. You can see it here, a totally pristine lake with these brilliant emerald waters just cradled by these magnificent Himalayan peaks. It's the kind of serene, beautiful landscape people dream about. But then you look a little closer, and the horror sinks in. The shore of the lake is just littered with human remains. Skulls, teeth, bones, they're everywhere. And because of the extreme cold, they're incredibly well preserved. Some body parts still have flesh on them after centuries. And if that wasn't unsettling enough, get this. Some of these skeletons belong to people who were reportedly over 7 feet tall. So, local legend has one explanation for all this. The story goes that an entire army vanished here centuries ago, just swallowed up by a sudden, violent avalanche. And it's their spirits, trapped by such an unnatural end, that are believed to be the source of this lake's really powerful curse. And right here, this is where our story takes a major turn. Surrounded by all this history and death, the narrator's friend made a pretty fateful choice. As he's walking among all these skeletal remains, he spots something a little unusual, an old ivory ring. Now, this wasn't jewelry, but a kind of hook they used for ancient tents, and he thought, hey, cool souvenir, and decided to take it home. So was it just a harmless piece of history, a simple memento from an unforgettable trip? Or was it something more? Well, as they were about to find out, taking things from the Lake of Deads, it comes with a price. The trouble? Well, it started almost right away. The journey home was definitely unsettling, but the real haunting didn't kick in until they were back in the city of Delhi, a world away from those Himalayan peaks. Okay, let's break down exactly how this curse played out. It starts on the trek home. The friend starts complaining about these weird sounds keeping him up at night. Then, back in Delhi, he looks at his watch and realizes it stopped, frozen at the exact time they were standing at the lake. So they take it to a repair shop, and this is where it gets really bizarre. The second the technician opens it up, it starts working perfectly. But then, the moment they get it back home, boom, it stops dead again. And this wasn't just a one-time thing, a weird fluke. No way. This exact maddening cycle, the watch working perfectly at the shop only to die the second it was back in his house, it happened 4 or 5 times. The pattern was undeniable, and honestly completely impossible to explain away. So you can imagine the conflict this created. On one hand, you've got the narrator's educated, rational mind, just screaming for a logical explanation. But on the other hand, there's this really strange reality happening right in front of him. A reality that's pointing to something else entirely. They had brought the curse home with them. They were totally convinced they were dealing with something way beyond a simple mechanical problem. They knew there was only one thing they could possibly do. Right? You can't exactly take a cursed watch to a regular repair shop. When you're faced with a supernatural problem, you kind of need a supernatural solution. They had to go back, right back to the source. So, they came up with a plan, a multi-step ritual. First, they had to go through that whole grueling trek again to get back to Roop Kund Lake and return the ivory ring. Then, they would perform a puja, which is a traditional Hindu ceremony of worship, to ask the spirits for forgiveness. And finally, they would pray for the spirits' nirvana, their ultimate release from their earthly ties. And that's what they did. They made that entire journey all over again. They returned the ring and they performed the whole ceremony. After all of that, they traveled back to Delhi, just hoping, waiting to see if their apology had actually been accepted. And sure enough, when they got back to the friend's home, they found the watch just ticking away, working perfectly. The curse was lifted. This whole incredible story really leaves us with one final thought-provoking question. If you were there, surrounded by all that history and mystery, with a piece of the ancient world sitting right at your feet, would you have been able to resist taking a souvenir? What choice would you have made?